Hello my friends, Paul here in the RoJoBe Music Workshop, and welcome to part 4, I think it's part 4, of the Japanese Sanshin headstock rebuild, or peg box. Actually in Japanese, the headstock of the Sanshin is called a 10, spelt T-E-N in English, and so that, yeah, the headstock is actually called 10 on the Sanshin, but on the shamisen, which is thank you the shamisen, which is a similar instrument but bigger, the headstock is called tenjin, T-E-N-J-I-N, interestingly. We're making good progress. So in the first 3 episodes, well, in the first episode I'd already glued one side up, made the piece to go in one side and glued it up, and then proceeded to start making the repair piece for the other side, and then glued that in and got it all filed and shaped and sanded. Then I had to go over the whole thing with filler to fill in some of the gaps and divots, and basically to level up the front and the back of the headstock, and got all that done. Then I'd started to put the veneer on the headstock. So you saw me do one side of it, and it was at least as difficult and problematic as I was expecting it to be. It's quite fiddly and awkward because of the shape of the I'm going to call it 10 headstock. All its curves and contours and different angles. It was pretty tricky to do the sides. And I did say that when I started to do the front and back, I would record it, but I didn't. I skipped ahead. They were a bit easier, but still, kind of awkward. So I wanted to just, concentrate on what I was doing. So yeah, I have done all of it off camera. I've skipped forward. I know I said I'd record it, but it wasn't really that interesting to watch, and it was pretty much the same as doing the side you'd already seen me doing. Same sort of thing really, on both sides, the front and the back. So I've now got it finished, and it's turned out really good actually. So it's all the way around, and this part here was particularly awkward to do, and I had to do some of it in like bits and pieces, but for the most part it's one piece for one side, one piece for the other, one piece for the front and one piece for the back. But it was quite difficult to get this edge done, so I had to put in a few pieces, but all things considered, it's turned out really well actually. I'm really happy with it. It was at least as difficult as I was expecting it to be, perhaps even a little bit more. It's just tricky, awkward, but in all honesty, it's turned out at least as good as I was hoping for, and probably better than expected. I mean, it's not completely finished. I've taken off the rough edges on all of the corners and the contours, mostly 95%. Still got a, just like in here, for example, I can still feel a little rough patch just there, because I did the sides and the front and the back all in separate pieces. On the corners, front and back, there's obviously a join, and it left kind of rough edges and bits of glue and stuff, so I've been tidying that up as much as is necessary right now. It still needs finishing and final sanding, but there's no point doing any of that until I've got the holes for the pegs, which is what I'm doing now, or what I'm going to do now. You know, there's no point doing all the final sanding, because when I make these holes, provided all goes well, it's going to be, you know, a little bit untidy, but just a bit of light sanding will finish it off. I mean, thankfully I have done this at least 3 times before, so I know how to do it. But that being said, I also know how problematic and difficult it can be. I mean, this, you know, this slot in here isn't very big, because if it was, these would be too thin, and you know, so there's not much room to work with. And you know, bearing in mind these are the size pegs that I'm putting in, so it's like 2 one side and then 1 the other in the middle. You know, these weren't the original ones I made these with. I actually used viola tuning pegs, but it always was only temporary until I got some of these. And I got obviously two. Actually, I had to buy 3 sets of these, because these are for a different instrument and they come in pairs. So I bought 3 sets to make 2 sets, because this one has 3 and the shamisen has 3. So yeah, as I said, there's no point doing all the final sanding and finishing until I've got these fitted, because making the holes in the sides for these, you know, messes it up a little bit. And you know what, once all that's done, then I will do final sanding, but not the oiling yet. And there's a reason for that, which I will explain when I come to that. So, as I said, now I'm going to start making the holes for the tuning pegs. Let's just get the camera set up. Okay, and zoom in a bit. Let's see. Okay, zoom in a touch more. That should be enough. Okay, so, oh, excuse me. You've probably already seen, I've got various pencil marks all around, sides and the front or the top. So I've been carefully marking out where I'm going to drill the holes for these tuning pegs. And before I started doing that, I kind of worked it out on paper. Just zoom out a little bit. Kind of worked it out on paper. So those inner 2 lines, they're wrong. They're my first attempt, and it didn't work out. And I'll show you why. So effectively, let's just zoom in a bit. Effectively, this piece of paper represents the headstock. So these are the sides of the headstock, and then, you know, top here and bottom here, or the other way around. So with this one being in the middle, so going up that center line there, that one in the middle there, and if I just use a couple of rulers to represent the other 2 tuning pegs. Hold on, let me just find my mark. So just using a couple of 6-inch rulers to, because they're more or less the same size, to represent the other 2 tuning pegs. And we've got this. So you can see this one in the middle goes straight, and then the 2 top and bottom go at an angle. Now, really, that's not the best angle. They could do with going out a bit more, really. But like I said, there's not much room to work with in this slot. And these are quite big in comparison. So those original lines that you saw there, if I followed those, we've got this, which is a much better angle. You see, we've got much more angle here, but the problem we run into, actually that's not right, it's that one and that one. I mean, that is a much better angle, but the problem we run into is when they start coming through the other side here and here, they're going to be very, very close to this. And also the gaps between this hole and this hole and this hole and this hole, so that the actual wood left between those holes is going to be very, very narrow and therefore very weak. So this is why I did it all on paper first, just to work out where I need to be, and it is, let me just line that up again. Is that right? Doesn't seem right. So yeah, so we haven't got as much angle, but you know, we've got more wood here between those three holes, so it's going to be stronger that way. I mean, like I said, this is not ideal really. It did need a bit more angle. If you look at the traditional Sanshins and Shamisen, they've got much more angle, much more, you know, sort of like that, but it's not going to work for this. So, you know, I took a good amount of time to work all this out on paper first, and then transferred the corresponding lines to the headstock or 10 itself to work out where I need to drill all the holes. So here, both sides, we've got the center line, so that's where the center peg holes will go, and then I've got this side, they are, one second, the holes are, can't see what I'm doing, the holes are, where is that one? Okay. I can't see what I'm doing now. Yeah, the holes are 30 millimeters apart. Is that right? Yeah, 30 millimeters apart. And on the other side, they are 35 millimeters apart. So we've got a 5 mil difference, which effectively for each one is 2.5 mil, which, you know, as I said, doesn't really give enough angle, but I have to be careful with the amount of, you know, wood that I've got on here. So to make these holes, first of all I need a drill, just to make the pilot holes, and I've got a wood drill bit in there with a point on it, so give me a head start. And for these pegs, I don't have the right kind of reamer. I do have several reamers, 4 or 5 at least, different reamers, but I don't have the right ones for these particular pegs. So I've got a selection of them here. This one is it's a bit rusty, but it still works. This one is a proper one for violins, and I think it will do violas as well. And then here I've got just a generic reamer. I nearly called it a router. Reamer. And I've actually got 2 of these, and they are the same pitch or angle, but this one, as you can see, is bigger than this one, wider. So, you know, it effectively starts halfway up the other one, sort of thing. So they're the same taper or pitch or angle, whatever you want to call it. This one is the proper one for violins, etc., but the pitch is far too, you know, it doesn't get fatter quick enough, if that makes sense. So I'm not sure if I'll even use that one. And the problem with these ones is the same thing really. You know, the angle is not right, and even the bigger one, you can see that the tip is a lot narrower on the reamer than the tip of the tuning peg, but whereas here in this area it's about the same. So really I needed something between this violin one and this one, but I don't have that, so I'm going to have to do the best I can. I probably need to zoom back out a little bit. Right, so first thing I need to do is drill the pilot holes. Now it's really important that I get the right angle this way, you know, to keep it straight going down, so not tilted forwards or backwards, but I've also got to follow the angle, you know, this way, or actually this way for that one and this way for that one, but the middle one straight. So I've got to make sure I get all of that right, and It ain't easy. So I think I'm just gonna place that on there to try and keep it reasonably level and make a start drilling the holes. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the middle one. Oh, actually, what I need to do before that is just use a punch or an awl just to mark those holes. Should have remembered to do that. There's 1, 2, 3 on that side, and 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Right, so start to drill drill the pilot holes. I know I'm a little bit in the way for you to see what I'm doing, but I need to get this accurate. I'm going to do both sides, the centre one first, and that's what I'm afraid of. The wood chipping out. That's a problem, but there's not much I can do about that. And that's why I'm starting with a small pilot hole and then continuing with the reamers. That should eradicate that. Yeah, same again, it's not too bad. I should be able to get rid of that with the reamers. Okay, now the other holes are a little bit trickier because I've got to get an angle. Can't see what I'm doing. Got to get the angle whilst keeping it straight back and forth. Yeah, there's a bit of chip out. Like I said, there's not much I can do at this stage. Hopefully the reamers will sort that out. Okay, 2 more the other side. Last one. Okay, so that's all of the holes drilled. It's that side and that side, and you can see the difference, the distance between the outer 2 here and then here, it's closer together. And yeah, the inside is nasty. But like I said, hopefully I'll get away with that. The reamers will sort that out, which we will see now. So I'm going to start with which one am I going to start with? I'll start. I don't think we're going to use the violin one. It's just not the right one for this. So I'm going to start with the smaller one of my other 2. And like I said, I've got to try and follow these lines as best I can. I'm kind of having to do this right-handed, which is not so good for me, but let's see how we go. So I'll just start with this one, as I said, first of all. And once I'm through the first side, I then have to line it up with the other one to get the right angle. And it's already coming through, as you can probably see. I mean, this is pretty, this is quite a hard wood, but it's also at the same time fairly easy to work with. Okay, I'm going to keep that angle right. Okay. Right, so soon going to make contact with the other side. Can you see what I'm doing? Not too much. And once that's located in the other hole, it will then guide itself to the correct angle, in theory, I hope. Almost there. Yeah, it's gone down for some reason. Let's see if I can get that to go back. There we go. Right, that's started to go through the other side now. Try and keep that on the right angle. This is hardwood. Maybe my reamer isn't as sharp as it was either. I haven't sharpened it, so. God, yeah. Yeah, so that's following that angle nicely, and as you can probably see, we've got an angle going upwards like that. Very subtle, not like I said, not really as much as I would have liked, but got to be careful of the amount of wood that's left. Right, so I'm just going to run that through a little bit more so that we've got this one started at least. Yeah, that is. I think this reamer is kind of blunt. Okay, so we made a start there. We've got the larger hole there now. It didn't really make that one much larger, but I don't want to go too mad just yet. Just get them all started and check that the alignment is good. Sorry. Alignment is good, and again you've got that slight, it's such a subtle angle that I hope it's enough. Well, it's going to have to be. There's not much I can do to change it now. God, that is tough wood. Like I said, either that or my reamer is very blunt. I'm sure it's a bit of both. Okay, so that one's now come through that side, so we know the alignment is good. Okay, so now the other one, the middle one, should be a little bit easier. Definitely easier for me right now because I'm using my left hand. Right, so that's gone through to the whole the other side. Wow. Whew. Not quite through yet. Now hopefully this middle one should be straight, and I think it is. It's actually gone all right initially. Okay, right, so all three of them are now started. So this side, as you can see the outer two are larger and the middle one smaller, and this way it's opposite, the two outer ones are smaller and the middle one larger. But I know for a fact, without even trying, that peg is nowhere near even started yet. No, not even close. We've got a long way to go yet. So I think what I'm going to do actually is just continue with the middle one, because for me it's a little bit easier, and hopefully we'll at least be able to get this peg started. God, that hurts. Wait a minute. Let's put that cloth down. Rest my hand on, because I'm having to hold it like this but apply pressure at the same time, so it kind of hurts my hand a bit. Right. I'm definitely going to have to go all the way to the end of this to get this started in here and starting to go through the other side. So I'm going to need all of this. And I can tell you, it's not easy. I really don't want to use drills. I mean, you saw the mess that it made inside there already. And although this way takes a lot longer and it's a lot harder, it's definitely the much better way to do it. I think I'm just going to put a little bit of wax on that to try and ease the cutting. Well, I would. I've got some paraffin wax here somewhere. Ah, there it is. Okay. So let me just take that out. Yeah, I can feel actually, it's the blades on it are not at their best, let's say. Let's just brush the sawdust out of that. So just a little